I think you just sold base training to everybody that's going to listen to this episode.
I can give you unlimited stories on runners who I'm working with right now who PR in the marathon, the 5K, the half marathon, the 10K off of the tail end of their base training before they even get into sport training. If you were to do that, what does it signal to yourself? It's like, I just ran my fastest time ever and I haven't even done the real training yet. What am I really capable of? And we set the goal a lot further. Base training is at least 6 weeks. And it can be up to however long you want. It could be multiple years. I suggest for a lot of runners that if they have more than 9 months between peak races, that they actually do 2 cycles of training and go through all 3 phases 2 times. You don't have to. Personally, I like to train for 9 to 12 months for a single race and do a big base phase. I just like it. But we don't want to go shorter because you're really missing the boat. If you do, you're starting to peak yourself before you have the foundation to stack on big workouts. We don't want to do that. But you can go longer without risk of burnout, because the key to base training is that it's all easy. And we often confuse easy with slow, because if you run faster, it's got to be harder, right? No. If you run really fast, but for just really short, it's easy. You're not even out of breath. And so in base training, we incorporate lots of volume, but it's very easy. This has the benefit of improving your aerobic engine, your soft tissue integrity, your muscular integrity, your neuromuscular efficiency. It's also low injury risk. But then we also do raw speed development, which is strides and hill sprints and certain kinds of strength training, things to recruit those fast twitch fibers. But when you do those in short bouts, they're easy. If you do the hill sprints uphill, you have less impact, there's less injury risk, you don't burn out, and you can actually accumulate a lot of volume of speed within a week without ever going to the max, without ever huffing and puffing. And so therefore it's sustainable and you can do it for a very long time without burning out. But it's far superior to just running easy, like old Lydiard style training.
Mm-hmm.
So if I remember rightly from the book, you actually talk in base training about hill sprints for 8 seconds with like a full recovery, like maybe 5 minutes or even longer.
So I got that idea from Brad Hudson. Have you read his book, Run Faster from the 5K to the Marathon?
Not yet.
Fantastic book. Highly recommend. Get this one. Brad Hudson. Brad Hudson was coach to, I was a fan of his because he coached Dathan Ritzenhein, who's one of my favorite American runners. He coached Jorge Torres, Alan Culpepper, Shane Culpepper, on and on and on. This guy's a very successful coach. I believe he might have coached at University of Colorado, but then he was a private coach after that. Very successful coach. And he had his runners doing hill sprints all out for 8 seconds. Now, why 8 seconds? Because we have 3 metabolic systems. We have the aerobic system that we're all maybe familiar with, and that goes on and on and on. We have the anaerobic system, which kind of maxes out around 90 seconds. So 400 meter, maybe up to the 800 meter, largely anaerobic. But then we have the immediate energy system, which is the ATP phosphocreatine system. And that fires for 8 seconds. You have free ATP, which is just energy. ATP is just it's what creates movement, any movement in our body, cellular movement. So you have ATP just available in your blood at all times. And you can use it up, most of it, in about 8 seconds before you have to rapidly start making more with anaerobic metabolism. So for 8 seconds, you can do anything. You can lift the heaviest thing. You can run away from the lion. You can climb the tree. You can sprint as hard as you can, like, Godzilla's chasing you, and you won't even be out of breath. You won't be tired whatsoever. You can go all out. But if you go beyond that, by definition, you have to start slowing down. So even in the Olympic 100 meters, Usain Bolt, he's slowing down in the last 20 meters. It looks like he's speeding up because everybody's slowing down. He slows down less. So it's an illusion. Everybody's slowing down. So in base training, when we max it at 8 seconds, what we're doing there is we're maxing out our time exposure to fast twitch development. And if you were to go longer than 8 seconds, we're really doing an anaerobic interval. And if you're going to do an interval, you might as well just do strides or do an interval, for goodness sake. But if you're going to get the fast twitch muscle development, keep it short. And the reason you need a full recovery is because that's how long it takes for you to be able to go 100% speed again. And there's a difference between 100% effort. At the end of your marathon, you can go 100% effort in that last 100 meters. But is it 100% speed of what you're capable of if you're fully rested? Probably not.
No.
And by fully rested, like, you're not talking about like standing around like the sprinters do for 10 minutes. I mean, because in your book, I think you gave the example where like you can do a hill sprint every mile. So you can jog for your recovery, right?
Absolutely. You can jog. You can go lift weights, you can take a break, you can do whatever you want. The only requirement is that if you really want to make the most of this, you wait 10 minutes between repeating it again. I realize we live in the real world where we may not have that time, so at least 5 minutes. You can do whatever it is that you want. And I suggest keep on jogging and just get your miles in, because who wants to stand around for 80 minutes,
Right. Perfect. So you can get that's how you can get your base training done, because your mileage will accumulate in between your hill sprints. So maybe do you want to describe also strides and why they're beneficial? And in the book, you mentioned that you can do them either on the same days as your hill sprints or on alternate days from your hill sprints.
You can do them at any time, provided that you're not overly fatigued. So I wouldn't do strides after a double block workout, for example. But those are few and far between. So let me illustrate this with a story, because I think we resonate with stories. People like to learn from a story. Kenenisa Bekele, maybe one of the greatest runners of all time. I mean, definitely maybe the greatest runner of all time. Now, leading up to the last Olympics, he was training for the marathon. Crazy story, his country didn't let him into the Olympics. Different story there. But he's training for the marathon. And what he's doing 3 months out from the Olympics is he's running about, I believe it was like 140 miles per week. Much of it very easy. He'd actually run with the women's team. And there's footage of him running at 10-minute pace as part of his warm-up. Now, a guy who can run 4:40 something for a marathon, running 10-minute miles, yikes, very easy. But then every other day, 3 months before the Olympics, every other day he's running 30. He runs easy, then he runs 30 100-meter strides. And they're done on 15 seconds, which is a 4-minute mile, which sounds fast, but for a guy who can run a 3:45 mile, it's not that fast. It's just pretty fast. And he does 30 of them every other day. And that's about 2 miles worth every other day. So maybe 6 to 8, about 7 miles worth per week. 7 miles worth of 2,000-meter race pace running every week. And he's a 2:01 marathoner, former world record holder in the 5K and the 10K. Clearly it's working for him. That's the power of a stride, is because what we're doing with a stride. Now let's go back to base training here. Base training, there's 2 components of it. There's of course the easy running, which we all get. And we're building our aerobic engine and we're building our muscular integrity. But the speed, what we're doing is we're building, this is Jack Daniels. Jack Daniels has us do repetition training, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Right.
What is repetition training? We're running pretty dang fast, but not all out in order to maximize he would say we do repetition training to improve our running economy. That's exactly what we're doing. What is running economy? It's how efficiently your neuromuscular system fires, largely. So when we do strides, we're racking up a lot of conditioning for making the neuromuscular system very efficient, while also working on the aerobic engine and the muscular integrity. You put those 2 together, and I'm telling you that I can give you unlimited stories on runners who I'm working with right now who PR in the marathon, the 5K, the half marathon, the 10K, off of the tail end of their base training before they even get into sport training. And that's really the key to this whole thing, okay, is that base training is so important. It's sustainable. You won't get injured. You can do it forever. You won't burn out. You can run PRs off of it. It maximizes your neuromuscular efficiency, your raw speed and power, and your aerobic engine. It maximizes all that. And you can run a PR in any distance off of it. But when you do that, if you were to do that, if you run a PR off of just base training, what does it say? What does it signal to yourself? It's like, oh my God, I just ran my fastest time ever and I haven't even done the real training yet. What am I really capable of? And that unlocks a belief that, what can I do? And we set the goal a lot further. So it's the first key. Like you said, Liz, you said you want proof in the training.
Right.
So when you do effective base training, you can get that proof in the training that shows you that maybe you want to take that goal and set it even further, and you actually believe you can. The only reason you push that goal even faster is because you believe it's too easy now, because you believe that it's a lock-in. And when you believe that, now you have the mindset as well. And so the training feeds the mindset and the mindset feeds the training. And we don't want to just sit in a cave and meditate and be like, I will run fast. How about we do that, but we also train? And when you put those 2 together and they feed each other, that's really what brings
I think you just sold base training to everybody that's going to listen to this episode.
Hey, did you like that? Great. Then click the link below, put your name and email in, and for free, I'm going to share with you the 3 things that elite runners do that most runners don't. I'll see you on the inside.